Fiveish Fangirls, I love you, and I'm one of the Fiveish. In fact, I'm the biggest one of the Fiveish. I am the Sixth Doctor Colin Baker, and I wish you all well. Have fun.
The Tangents as we continue all the way to episode 521, the Fiveish Fangirls podcast. Procedure reload! I've made a breakthrough, and speed is of the essence. Welcome everyone to this week's episode of the Fiveish Fangirls podcast. So glad you joined us. Let's start off like a Druid with a virtual table and see who's joined us this week.
This is Brittany in Bengal.
This is Holly from Wisconsin.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
It's been quite a weekend. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, for a good number of us, today is
Yes.
a holiday, President's Day, the federal holiday. So, but for some schools, it can be. Maybe you have it off, maybe you don't. Maybe you have a snow day you have to make up. This is your opportunity to make up that snow day. So, although it rained over the weekend here so much that we did our big heavy moving on Saturday. And of course, that's the day it decided to rain. And so by the end of the day, both my husband and our friend who offered to help were like, especially Chauncey, he was caked in mud.
Oh no.
Yeah.
There's a whole story that I will not get into, but if anyone wants to hear the story about mud at a U-Haul, let me know.
Let me guess. You got stuck somewhere or somebody forgot to pivot and slipped.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
we got stuck.
Ooh, yuck.
Through no fault of our own, but still, it was like Mother Nature was like, "Oh, cool! You had all this snow, and all of a sudden it's going to be above freezing, and it's going to rain. And what does that do? What permafrost?"
Somebody didn't say the word easy, did they?
Yeah, no.
Okay, good, because then it was like, whoever did that, then it's no fault of their own for jinxing the process.
Yeah. But
like you never mentioned the Q word at times.
Exactly. We don't utter that word at work.
No, you do not.
Find all sorts of synonyms, but not that particular word.
Well, sometimes you got to be careful of using synonyms, because sometimes that
is true. That is true.
Some words are verboten.
But good news is we got all the big stuff moved. So we're not technically done moving, but we don't have to be out of our apartment yet for a couple more weeks. But we are now living out of our new place, which is good.
Yay!
A fair warning to both you guys and our listeners, my office, because I now have an entire room to myself.
Mm-hmm.
I am right above the garage. So when the garage door opens and closes, it might get a little loud.
Okay.
If you hear something very loud and rumbly, it's not an earthquake, which apparently Chrissy had over the weekend.
Yeah.
It is just the garage.
Or it could be me with train or a fire station, because remember, that's not that far away from where I live. So
yeah. But it's like, it's been a hot minute since I've been above a garage. So, funnily enough, every house that I've lived in up until this one, because I don't sleep in this room, this is strictly office space, but still, every house that I've lived in that's 2 stories, I've always been above the garage. I don't know why that is.
You must have some underlying affinity for a garage.
I guess.
Apparently.
I don't know. Maybe I'm the Fonz. I don't know.
Hey, not a bad person to be
old school
related
referencer. So anyway, we need to get to the news. So we've got some 10 o'clock news. Although
Happened
this
over
is,
the weekend.
yeah, I mean, he was 95. It sounds like
Good long life,
it
but
sounds like he just died of
still
old
surprising
age.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you hit a certain point and your body's just like, okay, I'm done now. And that seems to be the case for Robert Duvall. But, 95, not bad. Not
No, not
bad
bad at all.
at all. So, I mean, obviously with living that long, his resume quite big.
Yes.
So, he from To Kill a Mockingbird back in 1962, which was his film debut, all the way up into whenever he stepped away. If he even technically ever did. So
I mean, some great little bit parts in movies. I mean, good lead actor, good character actor. I mean, Days of Thunder.
that was
Secondhand
Chauncey's. That's what
Lion.
Chauncey first mentioned. He's like, it's like Days of Thunder. I'm like,
Yep.
yeah. The Godfather,
Yep.
obviously. The miniseries for Lonesome Dove.
Yep.
Apocalypse Now,
Yep.
obviously.
Then I think wasn't he even in some like Twilight Zone and some
Oh
early
yeah,
TV
yeah,
episodes?
yeah. Before he ever made it to movies, he was doing TV, and yeah, he did an episode of the Twilight Zone. So he's quite the resume, quite the variety of roles.
He could play lovable.
I mean,
well,
when
and
you
he
got
could play
somebody
really gruff.
who's done The Godfather and Apocalypse Now, and also done Secondhand Lions,
Yeah. That's a wide range.
Which 2 out of those 3 we've covered on Gold Standard. So
yes, and one of them I know I happily requested.
Yeah. So although he was in the he's also in Newsies. Which
that's
we
right.
fairly recently covered on Gold Standard, because I made sure to mention how terrible the facial hair, the fake beard that they put on him in that is awful. Nothing wrong with Robert Duvall's performance, but the facial hair that they did on him was awful.
Come on, you get an actor of that caliber, make sure he has a decent looking beard. Come on.
Yeah. So, but yeah, there's that. But like I said, 95, not bad. Not a bad number to reach.
Good long life.
Yep. So there is that, and then this made my heart so happy. They've been teasing us for weeks. They've been teasing stuff on social media, teasing us. Finally know when that final season of Good Omens is coming. It's coming in May.
Yes.
We can start
May 13th. My brother's birthday.
Now.
My brother's birthday is when we're getting that final season of Good Omens. So I was like, oh.
Okay.
I was like, I know this is what they're leading up to. It's like,
your,
how long is this going to take? Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Like, happy birthday. Bye. I have a date.
I've got a date with an angel and a demon.
Couple of ineffable idiots.
Yeah.
But you know what that means? That means press.
Yes.
Getting David and Michael back out there together. It's going to be glorious.
Oh, I feel sorry for Georgia. But then again, not.
And Anna.
Yeah.
I think at this point I think they've just accepted it as it is what it is. So
work husbands.
Yes. They just it's a polycule is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not a throuple because it's not 3, it's 4 of them. So yeah, it's a polycule.
Yeah. But basically, pretty much, almost kind of the whole family is kind of.
Pretty much. So, considering that one of the tenant's kids was in last season, along with George's father. So, yeah, it's a whole family affair at this point. So, should be good times when they have to start doing press. And, hopefully the elephant in the room doesn't get brought up too much.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's like,
yeah.
Yeah. So it's a thing. It's whatever. Let's talk about the thing. Let's talk about the important part.
We're separating the creator from the work of art.
Yes.
Let's just put it that way.
Significantly. But that makes me happy. Oh, I needed this. I'm gonna need it.
I think we all did.
Yeah. And then over in convention territory, PopCon continues to make guest announcements as we are less than 100 days away from this year's event, which is exciting. But it's going to be interesting to see what fandoms get represented, just because this person covers quite the gamut. But I mean, obviously, everybody knows what I will be getting signed, because his bestie was at PopCon a couple of years ago. But Sean Astin is coming to PopCon. So Samwise Gamgee himself.
11's hobbitses.
I mean, I've got Frodo. I've got Gollum. I'm gonna get Sam. So I've got that particular traveling group of the Fellowship. Yay. I got that going for me. But yeah, that's exciting. Yeah, Sean Astin, Samwise Gamgee, obviously Bob, Stranger Things. So Rudy. Yeah, that's your thing. The Goonies. That's exciting. That's exciting. So, and he comes from a famous family.
Yes, he sure does.
On top of it. So,
yep.
Yeah, when your mom is Patty Duke.
Yep.
And your dad's which I think there's a video. I showed it with, I think I found it on TikTok. I showed it with Chauncey once, that for a while there who Sean thought his biological father was kept changing. Not that not because Patty Duke was not like a hussy or anything. It's just timing. Sometimes he sings, you're just not entirely sure. So he goes by Sean Astin because for most of his life he thought that Astin was his father's last name, which, I mean, his father obviously famous in his own right. So although for a while there they thought maybe, I think it was maybe there was a possibility that maybe Desi Arnaz Jr. was his father. So he could have still had a potentially famous father. So it's a whole thing.
Look at Liv Tyler, kind of keeping it with Lord of the Rings. She thought Todd Rundgren was her dad for numerous years until she wound up getting a guest spot on an Aerosmith music video. Takes one look at Steven Tyler and like,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I mean, once you put those two together, it's like, really, was there any
genetics? I mean, clear.
Yeah. So, but yeah, for it It was incorrectly reported that Jesse Arnaz Jr. was his biological father, which at the time Patty Duke wasn't sure if it was Arnaz or John Aston. Which, for those of us that watch enough old television, he's the OG Gomez Adams in the 60s, Addams Family TV series. So, but much it was, he had a paternity test done, and they found out that Michael Tell was his actual biological father, but really he considers John Aston his father because he's the one who raised him. So
yeah, exactly. To quote a certain auto mechanic, family don't end in blood.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, that's exciting. Having Sean coming to Top Popcorn every Sunday. And then Salt Lake Fan X, they have started making their guest announcements because they make theirs, they start early, even though their event is not until September. But some of the guests that they've announced, of course, they've done a lot of anime and other video game type announcers. But speaking of said mechanic and his family doesn't end in blood. Mark Shepard,
Crowley,
from said television show, is coming
and Sterling from Leverage.
Yes, is going to be at Salt Lake Fan X along with Alan Tudyk.
Ooh, oh boy,
nice.
So, if you haven't checked out Resident Alien, check it out.
So that is exciting. And then a little bit of, this is more informational, but in conjunction, which I go to pretty much every year. It's a nice small little convention, but it's very solid. It's usually over whatever weekend is closest to the 4th of July. For a number of reasons, including apparently a large national volleyball championship that the city is going to be hosting over the 4th of July weekend. A hotel in general, hotels in general were not easy to come by. So, Icon Junction is actually going to be the following weekend. So it's going to be the second full weekend of July. So that makes it slightly more convenient for people that tend to go and do like family, like barbecues, family reunions, that sort of thing over 4th of July. Plus, we don't have to compete with apparently a big ass volleyball national championship tournament that's coming to town. So that's a thing. So I still plan on being there. Just, if you had it circled for the first weekend in July, you need to move it. Hopefully you did it in pencil. And then in your feeds, got a few new episodes of Gold Standard, when I may have already mentioned last episode, but Chrissy joined us several weeks ago she's the one that picked it, our discussion of K-pop Demon Hunters.
Yay!
Our first time discussing something that is Oscar nominated, but the ceremony has not happened yet. So we shall see in several more weeks if K-pop Demon Hunters walks away with Sora statues. Which is interesting. Side, but still actually related tangent story. I've started watching some of the, speaking of Oscar nominated stuff, because we do have some time. So I started watching, obviously I'd watched K-pop Demon Hunters already. But I watched the Diane Warren documentary. And she's one of those people in the music industry that's like, you may not know her name, but you know
the songs she's done.
I mean, she has been, she's written hundreds of successful songs for all sorts of genres. Everyone from Toni Braxton to to Beyonce, to going back into like, the 80s. So I mean, she's been a songwriter for her entire life, but professionally she got like her significant break in the 80s, in about that era. But she is nominated for Best Original Song again this year with the song that she wrote for this documentary that's about herself. And but part of the documentary is talking about the fact that she has been nominated for an Oscar 15 times and has never won.
Always the bridesmaid, never the bride. Well, here's hoping.
She since gotten an honorary Oscar because of her impact and significant body of work. But just looking at it, and it's obviously the documentary came out before she would have known that she was going to be nominated again. But I was looking at it and I was like, yeah, sorry, Diane, I think you're going to lose out again this year to K-pop Demon Hunter. Oh, because there were some years where she really thought that she might have had it, and ended up like kind of especially the second time, she got pissed because she did win, because and it's not that she was like mad at the people that did win. It's just the song that had been nominated was very, very like personal. And something she felt very strongly about, considering the subject matter that inspired her to write it in the first place. I won't get into the details. Watch the documentary. But what's his face? Was it that year, or was it I think it was the second. It was the when Billie Eilish won for her James Bond theme. Like, she lost to the James Bond themes, like the last two James Bond movies. Like, what is it, Sam Smith for one of them, and then Billie Eilish and her brother won. And then Billie Eilish and her brother won again the following year for their song from the Barbie movie, which I don't think she was nominated that particular year. But it's like she kept losing to the James Bond movies. I'm like, sorry, the James Bond themes often win. If they get nominated, they're the favorites of the Academy, unfortunately. But I was just seeing her get so like upset at not winning, just because always being the bridesmaid and never the bride, especially when in some of these songs she put her heart and soul into it. Other things she just wrote because she wrote it for a film or whatever. But for this song, it was very, very personal, and the fact that she didn't win, it made her quite upset. I'm like, well, I hope. It's like, I know this year is important to you too, because it's a documentary all about you. Like, you can see her writing the song in the documentary. It's the thing. And then finally completes it there at the end. But I was like, yeah, sir, I think you're gonna lose the K-pop Demon Hunters, but maybe next year.
Yeah. Or who knows? You never know. The Academy, we'll see. Might surprise us.
I hope not, because then they're gonna ruin my guess.
Sometimes it's not best to try to figure out what goes through the mind of certain Academy people.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. So, but yeah. But yeah, we did K-pop Demon Hunters with Chrissy. And then last week we did Walt Disney's Sleeping Beauty, which was always fun to get back into, especially talk about the stuff that Walt was around to work on.
Right.
It's always an interesting discussion about what was going on at the time with like the company and everything. So, and how that influence things. So those are in the feeds, and then last month's Patreon is also available for anyone that wants or does support Gold Standard on Patreon. We discussed The Illusionist, which is a technically French animated kind of short, but it's not necessarily feature length either. But the thing is there's actually not a whole lot of talking, so the fact that it's French doesn't really mean a whole lot because there's really not a lot of speaking. It's more like a silent movie. It's half made by French people, so it's very French influenced. But yeah, those are available for folks. And then we need to get to feedback. Okay, quite a bit of feedback from Shalane. So let's just jump right in to it. She says, "Hi friends, I forgive you girls and we're all good." I think she's talking about us accidentally skipping stuff or doing stuff out of order. I'm glad. I'm glad we're all good. I can be a little scatterbrained sometimes. So now that we're in the new year, I wanted to share some thoughts, anniversaries, and predictions. She gives us what Shalane does best, some lists. Which in this case will come very handy as I figure out plans for the rest of the year. So you just saved me a lot of work, Shalane. Thank you. But if you want to, for some of these shouldn't be too surprising. That's like, oh yeah, that tracks that it was maybe having anniversary. Something, speaking of Disney, things like Dumbo and Alice in Wonderland and The Fox and the Hound, which I cannot watch even now as a full-grown adult because it makes me cry.
Right?
And then other things, if you want to feel really old, things like Hook and the 2011 Muppets. It's now been 15 years since the Muppets returned to the big screen. That makes me feel really old. Yes. Along with things like West Side Story, which we've done on Gold Standard. Shalane would like us to do it on here as well. Maybe compare and contrast it with the Steven Spielberg version. So it's something we did not do on Gold Standard because the Steven Spielberg version did not exist yet. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, personal favorite of mine. Howard the Duck. If we do Howard the Duck, we're gonna have to get Nick on for that, I think. Movies like Space Jam, Independence Day, Moulin Rouge. Yes, because Moulin Rouge came out right after I graduated high school. It's been 25 years. Oh my God. Legally Blonde. Oh, yes, we need to get to Legally Blonde. Yes, we will do The Devil's Wears Prada with the sequel coming. And then some some musicals and or albums, things like Fiddler on the Roof, The Crucible, the Spice Girls' first album, Taylor Swift's debut album. Yes, it's been 20 years since Taylor Swift burst onto the scene. So then she makes some predictions about what movies we might talk about on Gold Standard. I can tell you that I have not personally suggested any of these to Nick. Zan might have, and I don't know what other people have requested either through Patreon or as returning guests who have, bring their own movie. So yeah, your prediction is as good as mine on some of those, Shalane. So, do I want to do Jerry Maguire? Not necessarily. I can't say that's gonna be high on the list because Zan despises Tom Cruise with every fiber in her being. Oh, I can't say that. That's likely to happen unless somebody really, really, really requests it. So, Stand By Me, that's good. Actually, Stand By Me, the the theater downtown that I go to go see like my musicals and stuff. That's where I went and saw MJ the musical. They just announced later this year they're doing a screening of Stand By Me with Will and Corey
cool.
and Jerry. So
Nice.
Nice.
So we'll see. Might have to do that in conjunction. I don't know. Maybe. Then she points out an interesting thing about the world of the Wizard of Oz is Wicked, done by Universal. The Wizard of Oz and The Wiz were done by Warner Brothers. Disney did Return to Oz, Oz Great and Powerful, and Muppet Wizard of Oz, which just goes to show just how big this world Frankenbaum created and how far spread the rights for things have gone.
Right.
Oh. Then she mentions Chrissy being on Gold Standard K-pop Demon Hunters, reminding us that this is the second animated movie she's chosen after the Chipmunk Adventure. Chrissy's got good taste in cartoons. It probably helps that she
Yes,
has
she
two little
does.
kids.
Mhm.
Yeah. So she says, I'm pretty sure you might talk about it on this podcast on Fiveish Fangirls. So we'll see how long it takes for us to get that sequel.
Mhm.
Holly, you've been on Happiness and Darkness. I
Yep.
just want a Golden Globe, and if it wins an Oscar, I'll watch it. You should watch it anyway. It's good.
Mhm.
Yes.
And
Yes.
yes, it is a Sony product, the same studio that brought us Hotel Transylvania and all of its 5 bazillion sequels, and the Spider-Man, Spider-Verse movies. Going back to Gold Standard, she mentions that I tend to pick movies like Snow White and Beauty and the Beast, and she's like, "What's next? Frozen or The Lion King?" I mean, we have done Frozen here, and we have done The Lion King on here, so technically I've already picked those, just not for Gold Standard. Chrissy tends to pick the non-Disney movies. So she mentions maybe doing Anastasia, which we have done on here, and Kiki's Delivery Service, which we've also done on here. So, I mean, we've done some of these, just not a Gold Standard. So, I think, I mean, I don't want to speak for Nick, but I also think that Nick doesn't necessarily want to like double dip, yeah, because I'm on both. Although, depending on the movie, there's some movies I could talk about over and 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 over. So, so she gives us some more predictions of what she thinks Chrissy might pick. And then switching back to animation, specifically, she said, I've said this before, I'll say it again. Watch out, DreamWorks and Illumination. Your time stealing the spotlight is over. I grew up loving non-Disney animation like Anastasia and Iron Giant and Shrek. But yeah, I mean, how many more Despicable Me smash / Minion related movies does Illumination need to make? Honestly, like, shouldn't they be done with that? Oh. Says I follow people on social media who love both Disneyland and Universal Studios, and they don't have a problem with any of the parks or animation studios, which there shouldn't be. This is, this is this, Disney / Universal. It's not a binary. It's not like you can only like one and not the other. The two can exist copacetically, uh, perfectly fine without creating a bunch of drama. So, I mean, I like both, but I like them for different reasons. They each have their thing. And then she suggests maybe talking about some of Peter Jackson's other movies outside of the Lord of the Rings universe, like King Kong or The Lovely Bones. I've not seen his version of King Kong. So
Same.
So and then she attempts to do a list of movies that we talked about on both, or at least I've talked about on both, which off the top of my head, that looks like a pretty comprehensive list, Shalane. So I'm gonna say thumbs up because your memory's better than mine. um, then she says, "I think The Illusionist is your first animated movie talked about on Patreon. I believe you're right." Do, do, do. She says, "I believe Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is the next How to Train Your Dragon. K-pop Demon Hunters is the next Trolls, Barbie, or Sing. But most people say it's the next Frozen, which, I mean, I did make the comparison to Frozen when discussing K-pop Demon Hunters. So, also, other animation studios are clearly inspired by the Spider-Verse style and have tried it in their own movies. So, I mean, it is a very cool looking animation style, but I mean, it works for that story that they're trying to tell too, though. So, although now they're taking that and pulling it into live action because we're getting the Nicolas Cage Spider Noir. We'll see. And getting ready for Doomsday and other things. She has watched the original animated X-Men and the X-Men 97 cartoon series on Disney Plus. Very good. Now I need to watch the first 3 X-Men movies to prepare for when you talk about them. Also, she plans on watching Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Falcon and Winter Soldier, Thor: Love and Thunder, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, Loki, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, Captain America: Brave New World, Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four: First Steps in prep for Doomsday, which, yeah, got time. It's only February. I say that now.
Right, yeah.
Say that now and you're like, oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, no, wait, this is good. Oh, wait, it's only February or it's already February, depending on how you want to look at it. Things.
Yeah.
And she says, so sad about Catherine O'Hara passing. She was the best Hollywood mom in Home Alone, Beetlejuice, and Schitt's Creek. And Beetlejuice even looks like she's reprising Moira Rose. I think there's a little bit of Catherine in every one of her parts of her roles, I think. She's also a great voice actress in The Nightmare Before Christmas. I think the only Catherine O'Hara movies we talked about are Home Alone 1 and 2 and Beetlejuice. Have you talked about any on Gold Standard yet? No, not yet. Now she is reunited with John Hurd, John Candy, and John Hughes. She worked with a lot of Johns. Let's see. Speaking of John Hughes, we should talk about movies like Ferris Bueller, Uncle Buck, The Breakfast Club, 16 Candles, and Mr. Mom. I just bought the Criterion Collection offering for Breakfast Club.
Oh, cool.
Ooh.
At Christmas time. So I'm excited to crack into that and check out all the special features and stuff. She says some of her favorite Catherine O'Hara moments are the Day-O scene in Beetlejuice, her going, Kevin, in Home Alone, the wine commercial she does in Schitt's Creek. Yes, because the wine is awful, but it's Moira Rose essentially having her I Love Lucy Vita Vita Vegemin moment where it's like it tastes awful, but after a while you get so drunk you don't care. It's pretty funny. Night Before Christmas, she loves the Kidnap the Santa Claus song. And I'm not familiar with Penelope. She says, I was surprised excited to find Gravity won a Grammy. Now Steven Spielberg has an EGOT. Next is Lin-Manuel Miranda. We can help. The Devil Wears Prada 2 trailer looks amazing. It was fun seeing Anne Hathaway and Meryl Streep, and the wardrobe looks incredible. Of course, it's nice. Thoughts on the new CEO of the Walt Disney Company?
Oh yeah, that happened.
I mean, time will tell. I'm cautiously optimistic, to be honest with you. So as much as I love Disney, obviously, um, and as much as I love going to the parks and making my vacations, planning vacations around Disney related things. And I mentioned this actually during when our discussion of Sleeping Beauty on Gold Standard. There's this weird Ouroboros thing with the Walt Disney Company because you have the parks and then you have the media, which is the movies, the TV shows. Uh, obviously it started out as a movie studio, and it seems to be like if one is doing well, the other is not, but the one that's doing well can kind of help keep the entire company afloat until the other one finds its footing again. I mean, obviously, I just went back to Disneyland for the first time in a while last year. I've not been back to Walt Disney World in Florida yet since 2017. And honestly, I don't really have plans to go back to Walt Disney World in Florida until they get their crap figured out as far as making it worth the money. It's not that I can't afford it, it's just the return on investment and like the cost benefit analysis is not very good. They've taken their what they're charging, and with all of the perks and stuff that come with like staying on property and um buying and booking through them versus like a third party or something. They've taken away so much and continually raising the prices.
You're making it a little harder
It's
to.
making it hard to justify the cost when you're not getting the Disney experience that we used to be able to get.
Right.
When I
And the
first
ease
started
of
going on a
traveling
regular.
to go.
Yeah. And it's like you don't get like if you fly into the Orlando airport, you don't get the complimentary bus ride from the airport to your Disney hotel anymore and back. Things like getting to go into the park like an hour early or staying after the park closes, so it's only to resort guests, and being able to get the fast passes earlier than everybody else. And just it's all sort of it's like that magical stuff that it's like I'm in the Disney bubble and my entire vacation is going to feel like I am in the Disney bubble. And now they've taken away a lot of the Disney bubble aspects of it, and it's like this isn't you're not going to have the same. If you don't know any better, you're probably going to be fine. You're just going to be like, we're Disney, the kids are happy, they saw Mickey Mouse, parent of the year. Great. If that's what works for you and your family. But for those of us that have been around the block for a little while, I remember my old lady soapbox here and for a second. Back in my day, you got more bang for your buck by giving your buck directly to the mouse. And now you don't. Disneyland is a little different. Because of its location, and two, it's just the two parks. And like there's not necessarily like there are technically three on proper big air quotes on property hotels, but it's not the same as staying on property in Florida. There's not really a bubble per se in Southern California, unfortunately. You're very much like, yeah, I'm in California. Hello. Yeah. so so Disneyland, is still an option. I think if you do it right, it can still totally be worth the money you put into it. But at the moment, Walt Disney World is not the case, and hopefully this new CEO can figure out uh how to
Make things work.
How to right the ship, because I mean, people have done the math. It is literally not the flights, because that depends on where you're flying from and airlines and all that. So flying there can still be expensive, but if you can get yourself to Tokyo, it is literally cheaper to fly from the United States to Tokyo, go to those parks, and then fly back to the United States than it is to go to Florida to Walt Disney World. And you get more for your money in Tokyo.
That should not
pretty
be
much
that way.
pretty much all of the Asian parks. Yeah, if you can get yourself there, once you're there, your money is going to go a lot further. You're gonna feel like royalty comparatively to going to Florida right now. So yeah, it is wild how that is the case. So, and if you plan it right, you can actually do all of the Asian parks all in one trip.
Wow.
Dang.
Yeah, that might be pushing it as far as, out of pocket expenses. But I mean, like Japan I mean, I'm stuck in freaking landlocked Indiana, so it's a little different trying to fly anywhere outside of the continental United States just because we're not near a coast. But comparatively, going to Japan, even someplace like Tokyo, which is, like the big city, and obviously it's the place where most of the tourists are going to go. Just the US dollar goes so much further in Japan with the yen comparatively. So it's like if you can travel internationally, especially to Asian countries, do it. you're gonna get, like, my brother and his partner have been going to Japan like yearly for the last several years, and they do, like, I mean, obviously they'll buy like touristy stuff, like, your kitschy souvenirs, snacks. They like to bring back snacks for those of us that enjoy snacks of the Asian variety. They go get new glasses when they go to Japan every year, because they can both get an eye exam and new glasses within like a 24-hour, if not a few hours. Like, they can go to just walk into the glasses place and go back like later that day or the next day and get a completely new pair of glasses for like really cheap. And they're just as good as what you would get here in the United States. So yeah, I look forward to getting over to that part of the world and checking out the Asian Disney parks and resorts myself eventually here in a hopefully not too distant future. We're trying to, both my brother and I, we both kind of have decided, as Dad's getting older, that we're not going to necessarily travel as far away from home.
Right.
Just in case. Yeah. Just to be safe. But yeah, we do look forward to experiencing that for ourselves. In the meantime, I'll live vicariously through the people on TikTok. But yeah. That's my long-winded way of saying I hope the new CEO figures out how to go into the Disney theme parks better for people's wallets. So, I'm not too concerned about like the animation studio and the Disney films and stuff, and obviously Lucas / Star Wars and Marvel are in good hands with their respective heads. That's my 2 cents as somebody who does Disney vacations on a somewhat regular basis. I guess that's I can speak from opinion, my own personal experience.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully that's the case for people that have never gotten to go. Yeah, and would like to at some point, but they can't because it keeps getting more expensive. US, Shalane, there's your answer. She talks about the Super Bowl trailer. So the Mandalorian Grogu trailer is adorable. Grogu is going to steal the show. Hell yeah, he is. Apparently, we're getting a new trailer tomorrow. Of course, that's the way it works. Day after we record.
Or just wait. They'll drop it early, right after we're done.
Probably.
That's happened too.
Love the Jurassic Park Xfinity commercial. That was fun, although the de-aging on Sam not
yeah. Yeah.
no.
Uh-huh.
Like the rest of them, they look pretty good, but not so much.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they're not going to. It's like the technology is there, but the money you put into it makes a difference. And I don't think Xfinity's necessarily going to put the same money into it for de-aging for a 30-second, 1 minute long commercial versus like de-aging somebody in a major feature film.
Yeah.
So that, I think the people actually doing it, I think makes a difference as well. Because there's some movies where the aging looks pretty good, and there's some others where it's like, you sure? This was more on the, you sure? That's when you saw this, you were like, yes, print. That's the version we're going to put out there.
Yeah.
So. That being
Sure
said, some of the
render
side
time?
commercials, some of the connected commercials have been fun with like Jeff Goldblum playing the piano and playing the Jurassic Park theme. So, she's just still waiting on the Toy Story 5 trailer. Yeah, look at that too. Then we've gotten some trailers during the Olympics. And then Sleeping Beauty on Gold Standard is now our 5th Disney movie on Gold Standard. And our 6th animated movie overall. What's next as far as animation? I don't know. Nick would know. I don't know. So then I thought Zan would pick a Disney movie because Zan's actually the one that picked Sleeping Beauty. Because apparently it's her favorite Disney animated movie of all time.
Cool.
I thought she'd go more Tim Burton or John Waters. Well, Zan is an enigma wrapped in a puzzle. I'll give feedback when you talk about Sleeping Beauty, and please include Maleficent too. Yeah. Since you're caught up on Best Picture winners and anime films, I kind of wish you'd talk about Best Animated Feature winners, but it's your thing. I'll let you do what you want. The only Best Animated Feature winner you've talked about so far is Encanto. You should mention it to Nick, Shalane. If I try to remember, I shall mention it to Nick as well. But, if you, as you're listening to this, if you think about it, just send a DM and be like, hey, maybe Best Animated Feature winners. It wouldn't take as long because they didn't start that until the 2000s. So Sleeping Beauty is perfect for Valentine's Day, like It's a Wonderful Life, when Harry meets Sally, Titanic, and The Notebook, because they're all love stories. Yes. I thought Heather would join you for Sleeping Beauty since you joined for Snow White and Beauty and the Beast and Newsies. Just because that's someone's like seemingly like wheelhouse or subject matter doesn't mean they're necessarily going to join us. A lot of times it's because it's a movie that they picked is usually why a special guest joins us. So we talked about in Sleeping Beauty. Hey, look, it's a Disney princess where both of her parents are still alive. Sam reminds us that since then there have been several Disney princesses with their mothers still alive, like Tiana and Rapunzel and Merida and Moana. Yes, that's true. Rachel, I think you were thinking of the Disney villain books by Serena Valentino, not the Twisted Tales books. Yes, you're right. I keep getting those confused. Again, I can be a little scatterbrained. So,
but both series are very good. Both
are yes, from what I understand, yes. But I've only done the Disney villains. I've only read the Disney villains books.
Gotcha.
By Serena Valentino. I've not done the Twisted Tales. Yeah. Well, no, that's not entirely true. I have done the Mulan, but then I've done a good number of the villain books by Serena Valentino. See, and that's the book. Those were the books I was trying to talk about when talking about Sleeping Beauty, because I was trying to. We were talking about the three fairies. How in the Serena's books they're like the plastics in Mean Girls. So. The pink versus blue. Aurora is usually shown in her pink dress. Yes, she is. because Cinderella is blue and Ariel is sometimes pink. Yes, that is true. Although, depending on what you're looking at, sometimes Cinderella's dress, there's arguments out there that some people think it should have been white. Anyway, some of her favorite hero villain dynamics: Maleficent and Aurora, Ursula and Ariel, and Mother Gothel and Rapunzel. And then talking about our mystery actress from last week, Miss Meryl Streep. Of course, Shalane has seen a number of the ones that we have also seen ourselves, like Mamma Mia, Into the Woods, Death Becomes Her, The Devil Wears Prada, Mary Poppins Returns, and of course, Only Midgets in the Building. And she finishes up with one last thing. Apparently, she had a colleague in college that thought that Meryl Streep had done the voice of Mother Gothel in Tangled, and she had to correct her that no, that was not Meryl Streep, that is Donna Murphy. I think Mother Gothel sounds a little bit like Susan Sarandon, if you ask me, but yeah. I guess I could kind of hear some Meryl Streep in there. I really hope that Catherine Hahn ends up doing the live action version of Mother Gothel.
Yeah.
She'd be perfect for live action.
She could be so good.
Yeah, that would be perfect casting. I mean, she's got it.
Yeah, that she does. She's got it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, baby, she's got it. All right, moving on to this week's main topic, because Moi is having a birthday as we speak, as we're recording this, day after tomorrow.
Happy early birthday!
Thank you. So, as per tradition, when one of us has a birthday, they get to pick a Doctor Who audio from a Big Finish for us to listen to and review. And of course, I am going to do a Sixth Doctor.
Mm-hmm. Shocking.
Yes, I know. Again, cue the Iago sound clip that I
and
usually already used last week.
As our listeners have realized, when it comes to our birthday months, we usually stay to quote unquote our classic doctor when it comes to picks.
Yeah. So
I mean, I try to mix it up, but there's what I go to.
Yeah. I mean, if it ain't broke.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, are they all going to be winners? Not necessarily, but you know what? That's okay. Yeah, it's still Doctor Who, as we'd like to say. All Who is good Who.
Exactly.
It's better than being without. Big Finish got a lot of people through the wilderness years. So
yes,
we have a lot through the
breaks now too. With
yes. Yeah, it's kind of a shame that there's only 4 of us sometimes.
Right.
That's okay. We can pluck a Big Finish out of the ether, as it were, for other reasons if we wanted to.
Yes.
But anyway, I chose Big Finish number 204, Criss-Cross. Oh, this is the 6th Doctor and Mrs. Constance Clark, who, depending on how you listen to Big Finish, this is at least as far as in universe timeline continuity, this is Constance's introduction. Although for us, actually, we've already met Constance because we did Planet of the Rani already. So
yes.
So we've actually already met Constance outside of the Doctor Who universe.
Wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey.
A little bit, but whatever. But this is a historical Doctor Who story. So this is the sixth Doctor during the Second World War, being unfortunately stranded due to issues that will be discovered throughout this story. The TARDIS has, at the moment, been at least temporarily incapacitated, and the Doctor just wanted to go fishing, like he does, especially this incarnation. And unfortunately, the TARDIS took him elsewhere, not to the fishing hole. And now he finds himself working at all places with the code breakers at Bletchley Park, which is steeped in history. Bletchley Park was absolutely a real place, and was a big, big, big part of how the Allies were eventually able to beat the Germans in the Second World War. Their use of the Germans' use of code for everything communication wise really set the Allies on their back feet, especially because the Germans would change the code on the regular. So by the time I say we, the royal we, the allied we, would figure out how to break the code would change. And even with as much human brain power working at it, it was just not fast enough. Especially Britain, this is where a lot of women with higher education, especially those with a lot of experience in mathematics, languages, those came in very handy. But even then, even with every woman in Britain with ears and can hold a pencil, ears, eyes, and hold a pencil and write on a piece of paper, they still weren't fast enough. So then they started building the various, very early versions of what we would now consider computers. Things like the machine that Alan Turing helped with. So the Enigma machine, to help with that code. So and that's why a lot of women in the early days, they were actually considered computers. When they referred to a computer back then, they were talking about a woman, not like what I'm sitting in front of right now, or my phone, my smartphone. Women were the early computers, as more than anything, even though the idea of a computer program and early like mechanical devices go pre 20th century, thanks to like people like Charles Babbage, who could, made things that could do math. But to be able to create things that could help break code, they needed to be able to program. And because all the men were out fighting the war, it fell onto the women's shoulders. So, but this gave, women, especially women of, higher learning, a real opportunity to work on things like this. And the thing is like they really did not know what they knew they were helping to break code, but they didn't necessarily understand like what exactly it meant as far as the bigger war effort. There's a book, I'll have to look at my Goodreads to get the proper title. But there's a book I read last year. Yes, it was last year. And it talks about it's about wit. It's kind of an anthology. So each like chapter is about a different woman who contributed to World War II. But obviously the Wrens, like what appear in this audio, were part of it, and that part of the book, the expert or whoever, whoever wrote that chapter or whatever, they mention at one point that they estimate that what these women did as far as helping crack these codes for us to be able to know what the Germans were doing cut about a year off of the length of the war.
Wow.
Yeah.
That says a lot.
Yeah. So, but these women, it wasn't until after the fact, and in some cases, years, if not decades later, did they really understand the impact of what they were doing and what it had actually meant. And unfortunately, once the war was over, they just kind of went back to their regular lives. I mean, some of them stayed in the service, some of them went on to more education, some of them went to just, becoming housewives and, homemakers and that sort of thing. And really kind of the work that they did was just put in a class of, essentially put in a corner somewhere with classified stamped on it. And nobody really, they didn't know what they'd done, even though everyone's doing it. And nobody else really knew what they had accomplished because they kept it classified for so long. It wasn't until a lot of time had passed that these women even started getting recognition to what they did, and that allowed them to realize what they had done. So for this Big Finish audio to overlap with that's why the doctor, because we know like the major, I would think most people of over a certain age know like the major talking points of World War II, both from the United States and the rest of the world. Like Hitler, the Schmatzis, the concentration camps. Hitler ends up unaliving himself instead of seeing justice, bombing of Pearl Harbor and D-Day and V-Day and all that. We know like the major bits, but it's what this, like I said, these ladies cut down the amount of time that the war could have ran a significant amount based on what they were doing. And also Alan Turing himself, I don't want to discredit Alan Turing. What he did was also very, very important, and what happened to him. It's an absolute shame what happened to him after, actually during, while the war was still going on, after he had, helped them start to turn the tide of things, the way he was treated, which is absolutely horrific what they did to him. So, but the doctor mentions more than once how important it is that while he fixes this situation with the waveform creatures, that the timeline can't be affected. Mm-hmm. And, obviously with Doctor Who, that's always a thing. We don't want to affect the timeline. History has to be preserved, all that fun stuff. But in this case, it is so important that the Wren's work does not get disrupted and they are able to continue what they are doing. Even though this is post what Alan Turing did, they still have a lot of work ahead of them, at least for about a year-ish. I mean, the doctor does mention that the war is kind of mumbles that the war is going to be practically over in the next year, which for the English, it will be. For the US, not so much. So we kind of have that bit with the Japanese. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we came in late, so we're going to leave late, as it were. But If anyone wants to, like I said, I'll get the proper name of that book, and I'll put a link to it in the show notes if anyone wants to read it. But Bletchley Park actually has an official YouTube channel with all sorts of videos about the location itself, what occurred during the war, showing off some of the technology, also what it's like now. You can actually go visit Bletchley Park. As a tourist, as a fan of history, I would love to do that. I think that would be so cool.
Right.
But yeah, they've got I'll have that linked in the show notes. But yeah, it's the official Bletchley Park YouTube channel. All sorts of various videos. So you can go check that out if you want to learn more, which I highly recommend you do. So, but in this case, and this isn't even the first time that this particular doctor has found himself in this time period. This particular incarnation of the doctor finds himself he never says the name outright, but he talks about friends in high places, extremely high places. This particular incarnation of the doctor knows Churchill.
Yep.
And Churchill knows this version of the doctor.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And there's also a Sixth Doctor book that has to do with this particular incarnation of the Doctor and Hitler.
Yep.
Which I can also link in the show notes, which we've done that on the book club several years ago, but we did that one on the book club. So yeah, this Doctor and the Second World War and Hitler and Churchill are like a Venn diagram that's almost a circle.
Yeah.
So
pretty much.
And that's without the crazy outfit. That's the thing about Big Finish is you don't get the visuals, but yes, the Sixth Doctor is not in his crazy coat of many colors. Yeah. They forced him to dress in more civilian type clothes.
Casual.
It's his Bletchley tweeds. When you hear the description, it's like that he's still pushing it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a brown and scarlet tweed jacket and waistcoat with a blue and white striped shirt and a navy blue bow tie with crimson spots.
Probably.
So yeah, he's still pattern mixing. It's just the colors are a bit more muted.
Yeah.
That's why I love this Doctor. He'll never change. Even when he has to. So yeah. Doctor is working at Bletchley Park trying to figure out why the TARDIS is not working. Well, he's got an idea of why the TARDIS isn't working. He knows who he needs to find to try and make sure he's right. But the problem is there's a lot of subterfuge going on here. At the center of it, besides the Doctor and Constance, is a man of many names, actually. His name, he's got various code names. You've got Robbie Flint, I guess is technically his proper name, but he's also known as Agent Criss-Cross, Agent Spark. I think there's maybe one more that I've forgotten. He's kind of at the center of things, and the Doctor's like, I need to find this guy if it's the last thing I do. And thankfully he does. with the Wren's help. So, and if anyone's like, Wren, why do they keep saying Wren? It's Wren, and essentially it's kind of like taking TARDIS and trying to make it a word you can say as the Women's Royal Naval Service. Which you're like, well, there's no E in there. Yes, but if you say WRN, and if you would just put those letters together and try to pronounce them, what would it sound like? It would kind of sound like Ren, so they just put the E in there. So yeah, when they're like Ren, like what are they talking about? Like the bird? Like no, it's just a little shortened name for the code breakers there at Bletchley Park. And when later when they're talking about getting to do to work on trying to stop the waveforms, and they mention the bombs, they're not talking about actual bombs. They're talking about the code breaking machines. That is BOMBE. Thankfully, I knew. So, like when they started mentioning bombs, I'm like, I know they're not talking about boom boom bombs. They're talking about essentially the quote unquote computers. So, but if you don't know that context, you might get a little confused. So, and then you also have Major Harris, who is working on the English side. And then you have Dr. Schwartzman, who is a German scientist. And there's a couple other characters in there too. And then you have the waveform as well. And of course the doctor. Other than the short description on Big Finish, I did not really know a whole lot about this one, like even what like the baddie might be. And honestly, with the whole waveform thing, I was getting very Army of Ghosts vibes, honestly. And then they started talking about like the statue soldier things, and they were kind of silver looking, and I'm like, wait a second, here what's going on?
That's exactly what I was thinking too.
I know, but no, this is a brand new like faux, the waveform. This is the only place they've appeared so far is in this one audio. They've not popped up again anywhere else. As far as I can tell. But yeah, I was a little like, I'm gonna go here. But no. It's bad enough Churchill is gonna get his hands on a Dalek.
Right,
at later down the So
if
not from this doctor.
Making you wanting to offer to make you tea, don't buy it.
Yes, his iron side. But the doctor wears a fez. Or is it a cowboy hat? I don't remember.
I
think it was a fez because doesn't
certain
somebody
yes
shoot it off his head?
Yes. So anyway, Churchill, the doctor, good buddies, several incarnations, but this incarnation knows Churchill really well. And Churchill knows this version very well. He's popped in and out of this particular version is popped in and out of Churchill's life a few times. What story am I thinking of? What is the name of that story? That I brought it up. What is the story where this doctor keeps running into Churchill in different points of his life, and one's like a young Churchill? What story am I thinking of? I don't remember. I'll Google it later.
I'm just gonna randomly remember it as you were talking.
Because Churchill's popped up several times. Let's see. Churchill meets the fourth Doctor when he's only 5 years old. Churchill meets the second Doctor, who's his Latin teacher for a while. Churchill meets the 10th Doctor. Churchill meets the third Doctor. Churchill meets Madame Vastra. I think it's Players. I think that's what it is. It's Players. Yep, that's what it is. It's the novel Players. That's where I read it. I was like, It's like, I don't think it's a big Finish audio. I think it's a book. That's what it is. It's players. I have that somewhere. I haven't loaded my bookshelves yet. All my books are in piles. So that's what it is. Yeah. Churchill's met like pretty much every incarnation of the Doctor, actually. So at least once. Oh my. There, that answered that question. Okay. So yeah, so the Doctor thinks he's helping, he's helping preserve the timeline as far as World War II is concerned, but also saving this race that he's meeting for the first time that he thinks is trapped on Earth because the waveform is actually just living sentient electromagnetic waves that somehow ended up trapped on Earth after running away from a radiation war. And it turns out that the waveform actually wants to destroy Earth because it can feed off the brain power and all the electromagnetic power that comes off us human beings, even though it's as little as it is comparatively to like actual machinery. There's several billion of us on this planet, and as far as the waveform is concerned, if I just eat everybody, then I'll be super powerful, and then I go back to my home planet or whatever, and we can win this war against whoever it is they're fighting against, because I don't think they ever gave us a name of the other side, that whoever it is that they're fighting. But yeah, so then the Doctor's like, well, now I gotta freaking stop these guys and make sure that the timeline of World War II commences, because the German scientist ends up going with them, which totally could have screwed things up as far as like, because the German ends up back at Bletchley Park, which could accidentally, in theory, expose everything that the Allies are doing, and we can't have that. It's bad enough he finds out that they managed to break their codes in the past, but thankfully, with a lot of brain power as opposed to manpower, guns and other stuff, they managed to defeat the waveforms and stop Agent Spark, Agent Criss-Cross, Mr. Flint, in the process. Because it's like, first it seems like he's an English defector who's gone to the German side. Then you find out, no, he's actually spying on the Germans for the Brits. But then when the waveform comes along, he sees a real opportunity to really get ahead. And he's like, well, let's you destroy most of the Earth. Whoever's left, I'll be emperor. And la-di-da-di-da. And that does not turn out well for him, which is good.
And the Doctor's like, I wish he wouldn't have said that, but
yeah,
here we are.
Yeah. So, well, thankfully he gets stopped. He gets to stay with the waveform, his new BFF, though. Does he get to be Emperor of Earth? No. Does he get to stay with his new friend? Yes. And thankfully the German, and is it Harris too that goes with him, that they both end up getting blown up?
I think I'm not 100%.
Which no skin off my back with really either of those. So it's like, are you in the history books anywhere? No. Okay, you can die. Pretty much. Pretty much how it goes. So, but they end up using the knowledge that the Wrens have gained from breaking the German ciphers to Sylvia, who's kind of a lower ranking Wren, creating her own cipher to send out a message that the doctor requests her to send out, but the cipher she uses, which I like how the doctor's like, I need you to create a cipher that no one could ever, including the waveform, ever break in like 5 minutes. And I'm like, hey,
no pressure, no
right?
pressure
at all.
Nothing
Even with
but the fate of the world.
And the thing it's like, even with the machines, that would be hard. And she can't use the machines because the waveform is dialed in to the machines. So she has to do it with pencil and paper, and she still manages to do it. I mean, part of her cipher is based on using the waveform's own name, which it would probably never occur to it. That's part of the reason why, if you've seen The Imitation Game, why we're able to finally break the German ciphers in the first place is when the Germans in the morning would get up and start going out on their planes, doing their bombing runs and, taking aerial photographs and stuff. When they'd do their initial morning communication to make sure the radios are working with their radio towers, they would say the same thing. Yeah, they would all say something, some variation of like, good morning or whatever to the radio operators. So they were able to use that as the basis. So you gotta change up the way you talk to people. You can't be repetitive. Being repetitive, that's how codes get broken. But yeah, it was, I mean, obviously it's Doctor Who, very hand wavy and also Sylvia is supposed to be some sort of genius when it comes to this sort of thing anyway. So you can kind of hand wave it and be like, oh yeah, absolutely. She could figure out how to do that in the next 5 minutes, Doctor. No questions asked, no problemo whatsoever. And it works. So, yeah. I mean, yay. And the enemy gets destroyed, and that's all well and good, but then Constance, Mrs. Clock, decides that she wants to go with the doctor. Because there's all at this point, because
in a not so subtle way, like, hey.
Yeah, unlike other times where the doctor's like maybe had to do some convincing, or maybe the person's accidentally become a companion. In this case, she's like, you are taking me with you whether you like it or not.
She's kind of like Donna Noble in the reunion, like, okay, here's all my hand boxes, let's go.
Little bit.
Sign me up.
Little bit. Yeah, she's like, I need a vacation. Let's go. Although she might have a slight ulterior motive because her husband current whereabouts in his own service of the military is unknown. I mean, she essentially did the same thing Rose did, where she's like, did you say this thing travels in time? And it's like, yeah. I've heard that line before.
I see wheels spinning. What are you thinking? What plan do you have in mind? What do I need to dissuade you from?
Very much so. But yeah, this is is it the most like groundbreaking, amazing Big Finish audio ever? No. Is it awful? No. It's good. It's good.
It's a fun
especially
romp.
It's a fun romp, and I think it's especially fun if you understand the historical context as well. And they wanted to make sure that even though it is, kind of historical fiction, they still want it, when anything factual is mentioned or occurs, that they wanted to try to be as historically correct as possible. There's notes from Matt Fitton, who wrote this story on the Big Finish website page for this particular story. He says the thing about historical, even pseudo-historical stories such as this is that the research comes with the territory. And on a subject like Bletchley Park, I was very keen to respect the legacy of all the men and women who worked tirelessly in those drafty huts in the Buckinghamshire countryside. And of course, I knew Colin would always do his homework and challenge any historical inaccuracy. With recent high-profile films and documentaries, everyone now seems to know something of the Enigma machine and knows who cracked it. But there are so many unsung heroes who worked through the sodden Bletchley day. This was in 2015, so obviously that's what he's referring to. I couldn't mention everyone. I wanted the Polish code breakers who laid the groundwork on the bomb machines, for instance, and all the Wrens and clerical staff seconded into those most secretive duties, among them my wife's grandmother, who very recently passed away, and she had memories of passing Alan Turing in the canteen and manor grounds.
Oh,
the
wow.
research made fascinating reading. These ladies' accounts of day-to-day life at BP, the matter-of-fact way in which they dealt with the secrecy while working all hours, taking tea in the canteen, organizing dances and shows, simply getting on with it as they helped win a war, never knowing the full picture themselves until much later. That is, he talks about some of the characters, and then toward the bottom he says, my thanks to the staff at the Bletchley Park Trust, where I spent several days walking the paths, exploring the huts and the manor house, working out the doctor's escape route, among other logistical points. It's well worth a day out if you're in the area. That's cool. Very, very cool. One more place I need to visit whenever I make it to that side of the pond.
Right?
Well, anything else?
I don't think so. I think we covered it.
Yeah.
Cool. Like I said, this just is a fun one, and it's like I said, if you're a fan of historical, kind of more quote unquote real life historical stories, especially with Doctor Who. I mean, that's partially the reason Doctor Who was created in the first place. It was supposed to be a lot of historical, so it would be educational, air quotes. So, and like I said, I think it's the whole idea with Bletchley Park was a huge thing. We were doing that on this side too. Let's I don't want to say that we were making the English do all of the work, but Bletchley Park was a big chunk of it. But there were, on this side of the pond, we were doing some code related stuff too. No, but yeah, I mean, even in the MCU, Peggy Carter worked at Bletchley Park for a little bit before she got moved up into the SSR. So that tells you something. So, well, if any of our listeners want to give us your feedback on this particular Big Finish audio, or maybe you're just a fan of the era that this is set in, maybe you know a thing or two about Bletchley Park and the code breaking and all that fun stuff. Maybe you got some interesting trivia or historical facts you want to drop some knowledge bombs on us, you can send us an email, fiveishfangirls@gmail.com, or you can go to our website, which is thefiveishfangirls.com, where you can connect with all of our various podcast related social media accounts and our individual ones as well, along with links on how you can financially support us if you so wish, and also things like merchandise and the book club. So lots of fun stuff. So, well, my dinner just arrived, so
Ooh.
I think that is a good sign that we need to sign off for this week.
This is Brittany Bangles saying goodnight.
This is Sally from Wisconsin saying good evening.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Bletchley Park, keep up the good work, all of you. Second time. thank you, our Fiveish fam, for joining us on this week's geeky journey. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. Stay connected with us on our website, thefiveishfangirls.com, and follow us on most social media with @FiveishFangirls. Plus, check out our nonprofit, Fangirls Give Back, to see how we're making a positive impact in our community. Until next time, stay nerdy and let the squee continue.